This is Mark Pawlikowski, and welcome to the TechMates podcast, where my partner Henrik and I explore how Kiwi and Aussie founders are reshaping the future and what sets them apart. Henrik and I have been part of successful companies in Silicon Valley and Europe, and now bring that expertise to partner with entrepreneurs in Australasia. By sharing the personal stories of successful Kiwi and Aussie founders and how they got here, we hope to inspire you to dream big. This is TechMates, bringing an outsider's perspective to the stories of those daring to disrupt down under. Let's dive in.
And you and your partner, you're power users of that app, right? Because you're both running businesses, you have children, so you just had a daughter 4 months ago. What's your personal experience? What's the personal experience? So do you think it had a meaningful impact on your relationship and your lives?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it is funny, isn't it? Because, even now, I will say to Will, hey, have you done the thing? And he might say, is it in Cupla? We are definitely power users of the app. We really make sure that our quality time is scheduled. And I think after having a child as well, it's really solidified the need for a Cupla because, you're a parent, you can attest to your spare time just slipping through your fingers. And so if you're not really deliberate with making sure that got things in the diary, time can just get away on you so quickly.
Yeah. And you and Will, you co-founded the business together. Would you recommend other people founding businesses with their partners? What's that experience like?
Look, it's not without its challenges like any co-founder relationship. But I think for what we founded, Cupla, an app for couples, there is no one that is going to be better suited to be co-founders for this business than us, just because the journey and the purpose is so personal to us. And so it makes it so meaningful doing it with your partner. And as you're going through life and coming up against these hurdles that life throws at you, thinking about how we can address it in our work, and it gives the work so much more meaning, and it just makes it so much more worthwhile when we're able to, really get the product out there, know that we've made a win for ourselves, and know the impact that it's going to have on others. From a work-life balance standpoint, it's always a challenge because I think it's hard to leave work at the door. There have been sort of countless mornings where it's like 5 a.m. alarm goes off, quick check of the emails, and I'm like, hey, Will, are you awake to permission to talk about work? And so, that quiet space that you might sometimes have when you come home and you say hi to your partner who has no idea how your day's been, that doesn't really exist. But on the flip side, I think we've progressed through a lot of problems a lot faster because we're jamming them out together, at random hours. And it's been a really amazing journey.
Yeah. And I think a lot of founders also, there's a certain sort of loneliness in founding a business, right? And a lot of founders feel very lonely because they don't feel like anybody else understands kind of the challenges they're going through. It's probably very helpful to have a partner who is an entrepreneur themselves and, even working on the same problems together.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's two sides to that coin, right? Because the flip side of that is that there might not necessarily be the reprieve when you just want to switch off, but absolutely having someone who knows what you're going through it has been incredibly helpful because there have been some really tough moments there. We launched one of our date night products the day that New Zealand went into lockdown, and I actually got COVID that day and had to call all my team and be like, I'm really sorry guys, happy launch day, but you all have to go and isolate now for 10 days. And so, when you're going through those sort of challenges and then thinking about, runway and restructuring teams and things like that, being able to talk to your partner who is also your co-founder, it's a really privileged position to be in.
Wow. Any insights that you've had about just the state of relationships in general? There's, I've seen some stats around the number of kind of marriages declining and people putting off having kids. And for folks who are using dating apps, it's a very unfulfilling experience a lot of times.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, you monitoring people who are in relationships, happy relationships, using apps to keep that on track. What have you learned about that more generally, more broadly? Any advice for people that you have given what you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, I think the divorce stat has been what it has been for the longest time, right? It's like 50%. If it's your second marriage, it's more like 75%. I don't really see that moving so much. It's pretty stagnant and has been for the last sort of 20, 30 years. I think what makes me really excited about being in this space and seeing our users come onto the app is how cognizant they are of the traps that many of us are falling into in terms of work, lack of sort of work-life balance. I feel like date night and quality time, there have been a lot more sort of talk about how important it is, and you're seeing more sort of articles and things pop up on social around dating and really carving out that time. And it makes me really excited for our users to know that people are taking this proactive step to really protect their relationship. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I think it's, and I think sort of that, I guess that stigma around using technology for something like this is falling away. And I think it's really doing us a service, allowing us to have conversations like making sure you're putting that time for your partner in the calendar. Because I find it really interesting how much of a precedence, how much we give things like work and, medical appointments and the like in our calendar, but yet putting our partner into our calendar is still a bit, still seems like it's raising some eyebrows. And so I think all these conversations that we're having, are definitely, going some way to eliminate that. And we're getting into a really exciting time where people feel like they can take a little bit more control